Well, thanks for clicking on to the very final edition of Vogan's European Outlook for winter 2021. It has been a weird and wonderful winter, and after a warm December, we had the coldest January since 2010 for the British Isles. That being said, there's not been an awful lot of cold Januaries really in the last decade, so it's hard to truly go by that by really the month of January to say that it has been a truly cold January. Yeah, it has been a colder than normal January, and it has been especially across more northern parts of the British Isles, but it has been somewhat a little bit more disappointing the further south you go. But all in all, it has been a colder winter, generally speaking. Now, while January was below normal and the coldest in a decade for the British Isles, and it was cold across Scandinavia as well, the month of February was a wild month in terms of extremes. Of course, we had probably one of the coldest opening 10 days to a February in the last 50 years for the British Isles, and certainly across Northern Europe overall. But then the last 10 days has been truly polar opposite. We've had all-time February records broken across several European countries, and but what is interesting is generally we will end the month of February colder than normal. For the British Isles overall, you've probably got a few plus temperatures down here across southern Britain, but as you go further north, despite the mild weather the last 10 days, it's testament to how cold the opening 10 days has been for the northern half of the British Isles. Look at this across western Russia. This will probably go down as one of the coldest Februaries in many, many years as well. And of course, despite the record warmth that we've seen across even southern Scandinavia, the cold during the opening 10 days has been truly remarkable. Of course, like January, we're warmer than normal across at least the southern half of Europe overall. So interesting, that's for sure. As we go into the month of March, this is when things start to look interesting. Now, the CFSV2 is indicating a warmer than normal month overall. Now, if you look at the weeklies, this is week 1, warmer than normal. Week 2, warmer than normal. Week 3 and week 4, all warmer than normal. But if you go to the GFS ensemble and you look at the first 5 days, you will see a big difference here if I can actually find the GFS ensemble. So upcoming 5 days is like this here, average really. Then you go into the 6 to 10 day and you can see below normal, and even the 11 to 15 day you can see below normal temperatures, which takes us into the middle part of March. That's interesting because of the CFS V2 being warmer than normal. So you've got a contradiction between the GFS ensemble, which is a conglomeration of model runs all together, and of course you've got the CFS V2. Now, if you look at the Arctic oscillation during the winter season, below normal, it was negative, so it was below the neutral line throughout the winter, hence the cold weather. But of course, in recent times, we've seen it going positive. We've seen high pressure give way to low pressure over the high latitude region, and of course, we've flooded the continents of North America and Europe with warmer than normal weather. But of course, it looks as if the modelling, this is the GFS ensemble, takes that Arctic oscillation back towards neutral, if not slightly negative, which is very noteworthy. Then it shoots right through the roof. And what is going to be interesting, folks, is we could see temperatures return to closer to normal, if not slightly below normal, across the UK, in line with the GFS ensemble. But it does look as if the model indicates it's soaring right strongly positive, which would indicate a very warm second half to March. So it's going to be an interesting month. Do we see something similar in March to what we've seen in February? Cold start, warm second half, that remains to be seen. But certainly, remember, 2 years ago, Beast from the East was kicking in. So anything that we do get